and welcome back to the Hot Lap. And I want to talk about something that Cyril Abittal, I get that name wrong all the time, but the Hyundai Motorsport boss said about the 2025 car. And it's been reported on several places like Dirtfish, motorsport.com. And he said that it's going to create the rule changes for 2025 is going to create a pretty crap car. And that's at least according to him. So, yeah, weird. Let's get into it, shall we? So the FIA proposed, as we know, these technical rules for 2025. And he's saying they proposed it. It's going to be finalised, I think, around the 11th of June this year, which we'll obviously be talking about. But Cyril has said this is going to create a pretty crap car that's not up to the standard of the World Rally Championship. That's pretty scathing, isn't it? I mean, big exclamation mark. So he made the claims after his Hyundai team, they conducted computer simulations of the 2025 rules to see how, and this is part of the rules, removing the hybrid, which we think is a good thing, but removing hybrid and modifications and the air restrictor, and how that is going to affect their current Rally 1 car. Now, this comes after Toyota tested a GR Yaris, and that featured a modified rear wing with the driver Elvin Evans described as not so exciting. So we've got Hyundai, Toyota and M Sport Ford, and they've strongly now opposed the FIA's intention to change the technical rules for 2025, and a final decision is going to be communicated by the World Motorsport Council on the 11th of June. And he said, we found it, as in the 2025 car, very tricky, said Cyril, because he said it's a massive loss of downforce, so it massively changes the balance of the car, he said. The weight distribution of the car will be changed. The mechanical balance and aero balance will be massively changed, he's described. And he went on to say, and here we go, it will be a pretty crap car to drive, and that is a big concern, and at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to make sure we have a car that is optimised. He goes on to say, saying it's a bit ludicrous to believe that you can make such a radical change in a car and not give the manufacturers the opportunity in terms of time, or he says homologation joker, to use to re-optimise the whole package. And this is why the car will end up being, very Ron Dennis speaker, he says, why the car will end up being a suboptimal product, he says, for what is an FIA World Championship. You will find out that the drivers are very, very unhappy about this car, and I don't want to talk about the safety of things, but it could be difficult to control. I mean, I'm no expert. Now, the cynic in me is saying, is he talking about the safety because Hyundai, him and the Hyundai bosses are really, really unhappy about these new rules? And is he using safety as an example to not get them changed? Because as we all know, you put safety out there, you put the exclamation mark around safety, and then suddenly everyone's going to listen and go, oh no, we can't risk that. And absolutely, if it is deemed not safe, you can't, I completely agree. Safety is paramount, but people have used it. I'm not accusing Cyril of it, I'm just questioning. I'm putting the thought process out there. Could he be using that as a way to not have these rules? I mean, I think the rules are amazing. Overall, I think that Rally is heading in the right direction. We want more manufacturers. We want more drivers. I mean, at the moment, we've only got Ford. We've got M Sport Ford, which are very much the third fastest team overall. And then we've got Toyota and Hyundai. And most of the rallies are contested. Are going to be won by either a Toyota or a Hyundai. And for the foreseeable. But these rules have been brought in to try and help, to try and put more manufacturers into the World Rally Championship, which means more drivers, which means more competition, which most importantly means more people watching the product, and naturally that spirals out to more money. That's what they want. Anyway, Cyril said, I know everyone will just say just drive slower, but still if the fundamental characteristic of the car is wrong, he says, I don't think it is up to standard of this championship. That is why we've decided not to develop the car, but to focus on the car we have now. And while a technical pathway, as we know, is yet to be very much confirmed, Hyundai has committed its resources to improving its current Rally 1 car for next year. So Motorsport.com understands there's a strong chance that the existing Rally 1 rules will remain in place until 2027. He said, I believe we have a technical regulation that does work. And if you look at the gaps in Croatia, that is mind-blowing. There is no category in motorsport that offers such tight gaps for a category that has no BOP, for a category that is mostly open for development. He says right now it is difficult for us and our design office because there's very limited time and we have so many options to cover. Hybrid, yes or no, and rear wing, yes or no. And are we going to change the power of the engine with the restrictor? There are a lot of question marks. Now, when I'm talking to the people of the design office, I don't know what to ask them to do. What I can tell you is, he says, right now, we are not in a position to cover all the possible scenarios in terms of technical regulations. He said we have elected to go for what we believe is the right scenario for the sport and the right scenario for us, and to focus on that. Because if you start to spread your resources in motorsport, you know you are going to achieve nothing, he says. Which is interesting. I mean, yeah, obviously there's a rumour that they're going to stay for 2027, but then, let's be fair, I go back to the original issue, what new manufacturers are going to come knocking? I mean, it's not going to be Lancia, it's not going to be Citroen, it's not going to be Skoda to Rally 1. They just won't. It's too expensive. Bearing in mind, as we said, you're looking at nearly a million now for a car. How expensive is a Rally 1 car? I do believe it's about that. I could don't quote me on it. But it's too expensive for these manufacturers. I mean, you're almost looking at, obviously Formula 1's, really expensive. That's the pinnacle of track motorsport. And Rally is the pinnacle of this. But, yeah, I get why all the manufacturers are up in arms, really, really cross about this sudden rule change. But hybrid, who cares? I mean, to the point where it makes the rally cars heavy. It doesn't make them look any more impressive. It was a really good experiment. I mean, I was all for those points at the beginning of the year, thinking that Sunday, it's going to make Sunday mean something. Now, I think probably because of my speaking with Chris, I'm now completely against it. And with the hybrid, as we've seen in the touring car, they used to have a strong grid of over 30, I think 32, I think was their maximum, but 30 cars. Now they're down to 20 because of cost. The hybrid is one of the reasons for that, and that's the top saloon car championship in Britain and one of the best in the world. And here we have the WRC with their hybrid engine. I think if they just took out the hybrid engines for 2025 and then had some kind of a compromise, I think that would be brilliant. Get rid of the heavy clunky hybrids. Is hybrid the future? I don't know. I get why car manufacturers want it in. They want to make it road relevant. But do they want to make it road relevant to the detriment of the sport where manufacturers are not wanting to go in? We don't see as many drivers. I mean, when you look at the Drivers' Championship, it's like a handful of people. Now, you compare that to WRC2 or ERC. I mean, yeah, in terms of spectacle and watching it throughout the whole course of a year. Yeah, we have classic rallies as well. Throughout the whole course of a year, you could make a very good argument that ERC and WRC2 are more exciting to watch across a season. It's just that they don't have the big names and they don't have the big manufacturers in. And once again, Dirtfish has got a similar article on Cyril saying we won't spend €1 testing a Rally 1 alternative, which is pretty much what he told Motorsport.com. But he said, let's be honest, we don't really have the resources or appetite to cover all possible bases. And they don't, and I get it. So hopefully during the 11th we have a much clearer outcome. Now the risk is the FIA put their foot down, and then people like Hyundai and Toyota are like, yeah, okay, see you later then. Goodbye. And then they're not in rally anymore. And these are the two big, the two big manufacturers, along with Ford, will potentially be gone. So, yeah, so he said he's not spending €1 on their car. Now, all three manufacturers in the championship, they signed a letter to request the extension of the current regulations through to the end of 2026. And next month's, it's going to be revealed. So June the 11th is going to be an absolutely massive day in rally. Absolutely it is. Anyway, this has been the hot lap. This has been the rant, essentially, on Cyril calling the 2025 a crap car. Yeah, it may well be, and I get why I completely get why they are upset. So, if you want to see more, stay tuned. Like and subscribe and share. I mean, do one of them, you're a rally champion in our eyes. Do two, like and subscribe, you are a multiple rally champion in our eyes. Sebastian Ogier, or potentially, he's doing well at the moment, isn't he? We'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.